In this video, we're going to look at the Studio Actuals. To view the Studio Actuals, go to the Studio menu and click on Actuals. This will load the Actuals overview, which includes a dashboard with the awarded total, total cost, profit, and margin for the selected time period. By default, the current time period is selected as a 3-month window, but you can click on the filter icon up here to the right and choose your date range or a particular job. In this case, I'm filtering over an entire year between February of 2017 through February of 2018. You'll also notice a list of jobs included. The default view actually takes a time slice based off of the filtered date range. In this case, you can see what percentage of the job is overlapping that date range. To include all data from a job, if any portion of that job overlaps the date range, simply click the Show All Data from Included Jobs checkbox. Now all data from those jobs, regardless if the job spans beyond the date range, will be included. In the charts below, we can see the awarded total per location, cost per location, profit, as well as margin. Hovering over an item in those charts will give you more information. Moving over to our Jobs tab, we can see a list of all jobs that have awarded bids or invoices. In the grid, we can see the bid totals, cost, profit, and margin, the projected cost, profit, and margin, actual cost, profit, and margin, as well as any invoicing totals. In any of the columns, you can click on the column menu to include additional information from the job in the view. You could use the column filters to filter by specific column information. To reset the filters, click the Reset Filter button. To filter by jobs of a particular status, you can use the status filter and click the statuses that you wish to include. You can remove a status one by one by clicking on the X next to the status name, or remove all statuses by clicking on the cancel icon. You can also quick search through the list by typing in the search box. Again, to clear the filters, you can either click the X and hit enter or click the Reset Filter button. For more information about any of the jobs, click on a row and you'll see the bid, projected, and actual margins for that job, as well as the cost and profit for each of the different sections, as well as brief summaries about the awarded bids for that job. Go into the ellipsis menu, we can go directly to the job actuals, or I can close the info panel. Clicking on our Clients tab shows the bid, projected, actual, and invoice totals for each of our different clients. These totals are calculated based off of the client contact associations with jobs and bids. Moving over to our profit centers are a way to look across jobs to find out which individual departments are profitable, regardless of the final profitability of any individual job. Profit centers allow you to tag bid items and expenses so that within any individual job, we can see the individual performance of that group of line items. For each profit center, you can see the awarded total, actual hard cost, profit, and margin. And in this case, we could see our branding department is turning in a 36% margin, while our CG department is turning in a 51% margin. We can also click on charts and see the awarded total per profit center. Profit centers can be created in the Admin Finance section of NIM and can be applied directly to bid line item and expense defaults. Now moving over to our Tasks tab, we can see the grand totals of all of our tasks throughout the studio that any time card has been applied towards. We can see the total regular time, overtime, double time, non-billable time, total hours, any adjusted hours, and the actual hard cost based off of our crew rates. We can sort by any of these columns to find out the minimum or maximum values for each. In this case, we could see that we have spent the most money and time towards producers. Click the column header again to reset the sorting. At the bottom of this view, you'll see the grand totals for each of our different columns, with the total amount paid for the selected time period. We can also see the grand total of all of our user time across all jobs for the selected time period. We can see the user groups, keywords, effective hourly rate, average hourly cost, regular time, overtime, double time, non-billable time, total hours, adjusted hours, user cost, P&W amounts, as well as our actual hard cost. Now, the difference between our effective hourly rate and our average hourly cost is that our effective hourly rate is essentially our rate, barring any raises that individual might have had during the selected time period. The average hourly cost removes the rate multipliers from the overtime and double time hours and calculates the average cost paid per hour based off of the total amount paid over the time period. Here you can see a $10 discrepancy between the user's rate and what was actually paid per hour. When working in large studios, the overtime fees can add up, and there may be a threshold at which point you could add additional staff members for no additional cost to ease some of the overtime burden. Lastly, in this view, we have an overview of our time cards that matches our selected time period. Here I can see how much time was allocated towards regular time, overtime, and double time, and when the majority of the workload was completed. I can also scroll down and see the hours per item bid. Hovering over any one bar chart will actually show me the total hours allocated towards those items. I can see the hours allocated towards locations, as well as the hours entered per user. And that is a brief overview of Studio Actuals in NIM. For further information, please refer to the NIM documentation. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at support@nim-labs.com. Thank you.